Question 40, right? So this question 40 is about net present value, exchange rate risk, we have interest rate swap, we have options, over the counter options, and then we have net present value, right? International net present value, right? Okay, so I will start with the requirements. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of using the currency swap to manage financial risks associated with the franchise in Vertonia. So we have to talk about advantage, drawbacks of the currency swap to manage the financial risk. Okay, B. Calculate the annual percentage interest saving which Buryecs company could make from using a currency swap compared with borrowing directly in Vertonia, demonstrating how currency swap will work. Next, evaluate using net present value the financial acceptability of the company operating the rail franchise under the terms suggested by the government of Virginia and to calculate gain or loss in euros from using the swap agreement. First, you have to find the net present value, then we have to find the gain or loss in euro from using the swap. C. Calculate the results of hedging the receipt of 7,500 million using the currency options and discuss whether the currency options will be a better method of hedging this receipt than a currency swap. So basically you have to compare currency swap and currency options and hedge this receipt, right? Now let's go through the case study. So Buryecs company is an international transport operator based in Eurozone. Where is it based? It is based in Eurozone. It's very important that you underline where it is based, because where a company is based on that your currency is determined. So which has been invited to take over a rail operating franchise in Vertonia. So Vertonia is another country, right? It is another country where this company, Buryecs company, is invited to take over that company, where the local currency is the dollar. So dollar is the local currency of Vertonia, which is a foreign currency to Buryecs company. Previously, this franchise was run by local operator in Vertonia, but its performance was unsatisfactory and the government in Vertonia withdrew the franchise. Okay, Buryecs company will pay 5,000 million for the rail franchise immediately. That means since they are taking over it, so for the taking over, they are paying $5,000 immediately. The government has stated that the Buryecs company should make an annual income from the franchise of 600 million in each of the next 3 years. Annual income for 3 years. And the end of the, so this is a 3-year project, right? Let me increase the, okay. So at the end of the 3 years, the government in Vertonia has offered to buy the franchise back. So first, the government, now you have to understand the scenario very clearly, right? Otherwise, you will get confused what the question is actually asking. First, Buryecs company has been invited to take over. So first, they are taking over the franchise in Vertonia. And they are paying also immediately $5,000 million. After the 3 year, that means at the end of the 3 year, now the government is taking back that franchise from Buryecs company. For that, now the government is paying. So there's a payment, there's a receipt, right? So at the end of the 3 years, but this is at the end of the 3 years, the government in Vertonia has offered to buy the franchise back. So for that, the government will now pay the Buryecs company $7,500 million. End of 3 years. This will be a receipt if no other operator can be found to take over the franchise. Today's export exchange rate between euro and Vertonia, that is euro and dollar, is given, and the predicted inflation rates are as follows. So inflation rates of both the countries are given. Now I will not read it further now. You have to tell me why the inflation rates are given of both the countries for all the 3 years. You have been given the spot rate, you have been given the inflation rate. Why is that? You are given the inflation rate so that you predict the exchange rate for all the 3 years. That's why you are given this inflation. You have to use one equation. What is that equation? What is that equation? That is known as Fisher's equation. That is known as Fisher's equation. Fisher's equation means you are using the inflation rates of the two countries to predict the exchange rates. So first year, second year, third year, you have to predict the exchanges. Why you have to predict the exchanges? Because when you read in the second paragraph, this is a foreign payment and a foreign receipt. You need to convert it to your local currency. To convert it back, you need the spot rate of all the 3 years. You have been given the spot rate, today's spot rate you are given, but you are not given for year 2 and 3. That you have to predict. It is not directly given to you, the spot rate, but you can predict the spot rate of 1, 2, 3. Because if you don't know the spot rate of 1, 2, 3, how will you convert to your local currency? Because you are receiving and you are paying in foreign currency only, that is dollar. Your home currency, you are based in Eurozone. Euro is your home currency. You need to convert it to euro because you have to find the net present value at the end. So to convert that, you need to find the exchange rate. You can find the exchange rate because you are given the inflation by using the inflation rate of both the countries. That is known as Fisher's equation. Because even in the requirements, you have been told to find the net present value, right? And this is an international net present value. This is not a local net present value. This is not your domestic net present value. This is an international net present value that you have to understand. International net present value is in your chapter 8 of BBB textbook. So go through that. Now, Buryecs company's finance director has contacted its banker, right, with a view to arrange a currency swap, saying he believes that this will be the best way to manage financial risk associated with the franchise. Now read this carefully because this is very important. The swap would be for the initial fee. So the swap would be for the initial fee paid. What is that initial fee? What is the initial fee? 5,000 million. It's given in the second paragraph. I've underlined it also. So the swap will be for the initial fee paid for the franchise with a swap of the principal immediately and in 3 years time. Both the swaps being at today's spot rate. So both the swap of the principal and in 3 years time, that is immediately, and in 3 years time, both the swaps being at today's spot rate. Remember that today you are swapping, right? After 3 years, it will be swapped back. Because swap is a two-way relation. It's not just one. After 3 years, it will be swapped, right? It's reversed now. So therefore, both these swaps, the one which was done immediately and after 3 years, you'll be receiving after 3 years, right? You are paying swap. After 3 years, you'll be receiving that. So both the swaps being at today's spot rate. Even after 3 years, whatever happens to the exchange rate, it will not impact because it is fixed at today's spot rate. So therefore, that currency risk is gone. Now, Buryecs company's bank would charge an annual fee of 0.5%. So bank annual fee of 0.5% in euro for arranging the swap. Buryecs company would take 60% of any benefit of the swap before deducting bank debt. So before deducting bank debt, they will take only 60% of the benefit. So this is not your normal swap where it was 50-50. If they don't give the ratio that how much percentage is of the gain is divided between the counterparty and the company, you have to take 50-50 equally. But here it is given, so it is 60% and 40% for the counterparty. But you have to make sure that it's before deducting the bank fees. But would then have to pay 60% of the bank fees. So only 60% of the bank fees they have to pay, and the rest 40% of the bank fees will be paid by the counterparty. Relevant borrowing rates are given. You can see Eurozone 4% and for counterparty is 5.8%. So this is fixed. And for Vertonia, you have been given the variable rates and you have been given the fixed rates of both the company and the counterparty. In order to provide the Brewers Company's board with an alternative hedging method to consider, the FD, that is finance director, has obtained the following information about the over-the-counter option. Please mark this. Most of you dealt with this as exchange traded options. Why you have to highlight this, I will tell you later, because there's a difference between over-the-counter options and exchange traded options. That difference is very minute, but because of that little small misunderstanding, you took there was a mistake of choosing call or put options. In Vertonia, dollar from the company's bank, right? Over-the-counter options in dollar. This is the difference. Exchange traded options, we have read that there is no dollar options for exchange traded options. We deal with foreign currency, but not with dollar. We deal with other currency, but not with dollar. Therefore, we buy or we go for call options or put options, but not in dollar, in any other currency. But in this case, we are going to deal with dollar. That is the difference. This is over the counter options. Dollar is possible here. So the exercise price quotation is in Vertonia dollar per €1 premium. Now here premium is not given to you in a table form, which usually is given to you. Like here the premium you have to calculate. How you have to calculate it is given to you. Premium is percentage of amount hedged translated at today's spot rate. And you have been given two exercise price. And mind you, you have to use both the exercise price and see whether you are exercising the option or not. Assume a discount rate of 14%. The discount rate has been given to you because you need to discount. You have to find the net present value. You have to discount for that. Now first we are going to discuss A, disadvantage and disadvantage of currency swap. And then we are going to show how the currency swap works, and then the net present value, and then the options and swap. So first, before we go, please see this thing, right? Top tips, part A, 6 marks. This asks for an analysis of the pros and cons of currency swaps. There was clearly the opportunity for some textbook points to be made here, but the marking guide caps the marks at number 3 if no reference is made to the scenario. So you will only get, out of 6, you will only get 3 marks if you don't make any reference to the scenario. No reference to scenario. You have to refer to the scenario to get the full 6 marks. Example, the swap in this case did not cover the full amount of the currency inflows. Remember, we received how much from the government after 3 years? Because government is going to take that back from us, the franchise. So we received 7,500, but we paid immediately 5,000. So there was an excess receipt of what? Difference 2,500. That 2,500 has not been hedged using swap. That's what they have been talking about. The swap did not cover the full amount of currency inflows. It's an inflow because your receipt was more than your payment, 2,500. So if you are just writing general points, you will not cover this point. This is there in your case study. So you have to refer to the case study. They have given in the example also. Part B, the first part, 4 marks. This required a brief analysis of the benefits of the swap and the explanation of how it would work. There was quite a lot of work to do here for 4 marks, right? If you see the swap table, a lot of work is there to do, even though it's just for 4 marks. But no issues that have not been seen before in similar interest rate swap questions. You have to do it, you have to describe also. Part B, this is for 8 marks. This required an NPV analysis of the project. This requires a careful projection of future exchange rates. You see, using what? PPP. What is PPP? Purchasing Power Parity Theory. And recognizing that exchange rates were being quoted to 1 unit of the foreign currency. Part C, 7 marks. This was an assessment of the outcome of using 2 OTC, that is over the counter option contracts. So you're using 2 contracts. with two exercise prices. You have to assess the outcome using the two options, right? It's not just normal way how we use futures options or forward and then compare which one is the best. This is a little bit different question. It is a little bit twisted. So it would have been sensible to assess this against the swap. Now they are saying that the two options can be compared against the swap. But 5 of the marks were available for simple showing the outcome of the option contracts. Care had to be taken here to understand the currency the option contracts were in. Very important is this. Which in which currency the option contracts are in. Very, 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 very important. Because based on that only you will decide whether it's a put or a call. Whether you will go for a put option or whether you're going to buy a call option. If you make a mistake there, your premium, your outcome using options, the amount you're going to hedge using options, everything will become wrong. Everything will turn out wrong because of that single mistake. If you do a mistake of picking call or put, that is your most critical decision there. There you have to be correct. There, if you are correct, rest all will follow up. You'll be correct in all the other steps. Even though for calculations for the accuracy, you might some marks might be cut, but you will get the majority of the marks. So picking call or put, for that you need to know which currency the option is in, whether call or put were needed. A similar question was set in June 2011. You can see this in your revision kit. Whenever you come through June 2011, that will be 611. So please try to attempt that question also. Maybe you'll get a similar question like this. Now we'll look at the examiner's team comment. In part C, a large number of candidates showed a lack of understanding when they choose call instead of put options. That was the reason I have told you. They have chosen call options instead of put options. We'll see why. Many attempted to treat the currency options as if they were exchange traded when they were not. Finally, few candidates discussed whether the currency option is a preferred hedging method to a currency swap. Hence, many missed out on the marks allocated to this part of the question. You have to compare with the swap. They have told you. Now, for the first part, what was the first question asked? Benefits and drawbacks of swap. So 3 marks, 3 marks. Advantages and disadvantages. And also you have to link it with the case study. Part B, the first part. How? So recognition that a swap gives advantage for 1 mark. First you have to show that through swap you are getting an advantage. Whenever you are given a swap question, this is your first step. You have to show that through swap you are getting a benefit. Otherwise, what's the point of going for swap, right? If you are getting a disadvantage, you should get advantage under swap. Swap mechanism for 2 marks. This swap mechanism is your table. That table, it's long table. You have to do for 2 marks, but still you have to do it. You have to learn it. I have previously also I have made video, I think 2-3 videos on interest rate swap. How to form that table and how to put the figures over there and how to answer a question on interest rate swap. So please watch those videos also and see this video. You will see that it's same only. The same way I have doing there, the same way I'll be doing today also. It's the same. There is no change. It is standard, it is fixed way of doing this question. So that makes this very easy, even though it looks complicated and boring, but in fact that is the easiest one because it is fixed. And finally, the net benefit after bank charges, right? This is for 1 mark. Next, where you have to calculate the net present value. So exchange rates. You have to calculate the exchange rates, my dears students, because if you don't, your net present value will be wrong. All your cash flows will be wrong. Correct translation of amounts swapped, right? The amount which you are swapping, you need to translate those also. Then correct translation of other amounts. There has been some other amounts also. Net present value 1 mark. Gain, remember this part. You have been asked in the requirement that you have to find gain in euros from the swap of the initial fee amount and comments. You need to comment. And finally, for the option, it is a put option. We'll see how it's a put option. And under both options, and then you have to comment whether put or swap. That's 2 to 3 marks. So now let's start with the first one, advantages and disadvantages of a swap. Quickly, I will go through this. We should not take so much of time. because these are your theory, you can even understand from your textbook also. Okay, so first they are giving a brief 3 lines, a brief definition of what a swap is before going to advantages and disadvantages. This is a good way of starting, right? But if you are writing, if you chose to write an introduction like this of what is a currency swap, make sure that you don't waste so much of time in this writing introduction. It should not be too long, just 1 line or 2 line, that's it, not more than that, because you have to directly go to the point, directly you have to go to the advantages and disadvantages without wasting time. So let's first start with let's see what they have given in the definition. The currency swap will involve the Buryecs companies taking out a loan in euro and making an arrangement with a counterparty in Virginia which takes out a loan in dollar. So Buryecs company will pay the interest on the counterparty's loan and vice versa. That's what swap means. Now let's go to the advantages. If you see the advantages, it has been given in 3 different points. That means 3 different advantages. If you see the drawbacks also, right? Drawbacks is pretty long, but it's okay. You don't have to write that lengthy. You just have to write 3 disadvantages. So let's go through the advantages. Payment of interest in dollar can be used to match the income Brewers company will receive from the rail franchise, reducing foreign exchange risk. See, you are receiving 7,500 million from the government in the end of the 3 years. That's a receipt, right? Because government is going to take over that franchise from you. So for taking over that from you, government is paying you 7,500. That is in which currency? It is in dollar. And you are paying interest also in dollar. So if you are paying interest in dollar, dollar is not your currency. That is your counterparty's currency. So if you are paying in dollar interest and also you are receiving income in dollar, it will reduce the foreign exchange risk. So that is one advantage of swap. Second advantage is Brewers company will be able to obtain the swap for the amount it requires, and he may be able to reverse the swap. So it is possible to reverse the swap by exchanging with the other counterparty. Other methods of hedging risk may be less certain. The cost of a swap may also be cheaper than other methods of hedging such as options. Yes, options we all know has a huge amount of premium, right? It's very expensive. Option is very expensive compared to other hedging techniques because of that premium. Whereas compared to that, swap is much less cheaper. Third advantage is the swap can be used to change the Brewers company's debt profile if it is weighted towards fixed rate debt and its directors want a greater proportion of floating rate debt. Let's say that your company is currently paying a fixed interest rate, right? What happens in a fixed interest rate is, if, right, you cannot take the advantage of, if the interest rate goes significantly down, you cannot take the advantage of it. You still have to pay that high fixed cost, high fixed interest. But with the floating rate, it keeps changing. So that advantage is there. So because of that, your debt profile will change. And that change can only be achieved by using swap. Because in swap, you can change from fixed rate to floating rate or floating to swap to diversify risk and take advantage of probable lower future interest rates. Let's go to the drawbacks. The counterparty may default. This would leave the Brewers company liable to pay the interest on the loan in its currency. That is in euro. They have to pay the interest on that loan if the counterparty default. And there are chances counterparty may default. The risk of default may be reduced by obtaining a bank guarantee from the counterparty. So they are now also giving you ways of mitigating that risk. How? By obtaining a bank guarantee for the counterparty. The swap may not be a worthwhile means of hedging currency risk if the exchange rate is unpredictable. If exchange rate is unpredictable, it's not a worthwhile means of hedging currency risk. If it is assumed that the exchange rates are largely determined by inflation rates, the predicted inflation rate in Virginia is not stable, making it more difficult to predict future exchange rates confidently. You see that the inflation rate in Virginia is not stable. This they are linking it with the case study. How they are saying that the inflation rate in Virginia is not stable? Let's go to Virginia and see. Let's go to Virginia and see. The inflation rates, you have been given the three inflation rates of the 3 years. In Vertonia, just check. Just check in Vertonia. It is first year 3%, second year 8%, third year 11%. Where is the stability? It kept increasing, 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 which is not good for the economy. Inflation rate rising is not good. It's not stable, right? If the movement in the exchange rate is not as expected, it may turn out to be better for the company not to have hedged. Brewers company, right? So this is the first, they are saying counterparty may default. This is the first disadvantage. This is the second disadvantage about the inflation rate. And Brewers company, okay. So Brewers company is swapping a fixed rate commitment in the Eurozone for a floating rate in Vertonia. We'll see that, right? Inflation is increasing in Vertonia. Just now we saw from 3 to 8, then 11%. And there's a risk that interest rates will increase as a result, increasing Brewers company's finance cost. So this is the third disadvantage. Fourth disadvantage, right? You don't have to write fourth, but for learning purpose, we'll read this. The swap does not hedge the whole amount of the receipt in year 3. This they are linking with the case study, right there. So the first three disadvantage which they told are, they are just general, but here they are specifically they're talking about the case study. The swap does not hedge the whole amount of the receipt in year 3. Another method will have to be used to hedge the additional receipt from the government in year 3 and the receipt in the intervening years. If the government decides to impose exchange controls in Vertonia, the company may not be able to realize the receipt at the end of year 3 but will still have to fulfill the swap contract. This is 5. Now, how it works, right? If you see this table, it looks very confusing, right? What to take, how are these rates decided and all. For this also, there's a solution. Okay, if you have seen my before videos of how I calculated and how I did interest rate swap, this will look very easy. First, always start with this, right? Without swap and with swap. Okay, just go to that table and see here 4 and 5.8% and 0.6 and 0.4%. Here itself I can take the difference. Okay, just see which one is greater. Counterparty is having a greater fixed cost, and when you go to the variable rate, that is Vertonia bank rate plus 0.6 and Vertonia bank rate plus 0.4, this one is having a bigger variable rate, right? So this are without your swap. Without swap you will go for this ones, because without swap you will be worse off, right? You will be better off all day after taking swap. So without swap, the counterparty will take 5.8% and Brewers company will go for the variable rate, that is Vertonia's bank rate plus 0.6% without swap. I will write WS so that you know it's without swap. Likewise, with swap it will be the lower rate, this one and this one. Swap, swap, right? So that's what I'm going to do here. Exactly, that's what I'm going to do here. Without swap and with swap, right? Without swap, I'm going to take for Brewers company B, and for counterparty let's take C. Brewers is going to take which one? Fixed or variable? variable. Let's say bank plus 0.6%, right? I will draw a line. Okay. Counterparty is going to take the higher rate without swap, that is 5.8%. Because variable rate, Brewers company has taken variable rate, so counterparty will go for the fixed, right? It's opposite. If one goes for fixed, the other one will go for variable with swap. With swap, right? Brewers company will go for a fixed rate, that is 4%. But the counterparty will go for the variable, that is L plus 0.4%. Right? Now, we have to find, what do we have to find? Just add the total here. Without swap. Without swap, it is bank plus 0.6 plus 5.8. So, the total is bank plus 0.6 plus 5.8. 6.4%. And here with swap 4 plus L, sorry, this is, let's take B, okay, for bank. 4 plus B plus 0.4%. So it will be B plus 4.4%. If you want to find the gain, deduct both without swap and with swap. With swap from without swap, right? So B will cancel. 6.4 minus 4.4. It is 2%. Am I getting the same gain as in this table as they have presented here? This 2% here, if you can see, it is the same way, right? This looks a bit confusing, but this way you will never forget. If you start with this way, always start without swap. Without swap, you have to choose the worst position. Worst position means if you're having a higher in fixed cost, whichever party, they have to choose that without swap. But with swap, you will be choosing the lower one because you want to be in a better position. Then you have to find the difference between without swap and with swap. That will be your gain, and you have to get a gain. If you don't get a gain, then your swap, something is wrong in your swap. Your swap will not work. Here I'm getting, clearly I'm getting a gain because BB will cancel off 6.4 minus 4.4. It's 2%. I'm getting a gain of 2%. Now they have told that this gain have to be divided 60 and 40. So 60% of 2 is 1.2%. So 1.2% will go to Brewers company and the balance will go, 0.8 will go to the counterparty. Now I have to deduct my bank fees. My bank fees has to be deducted. How much? 60, 60, same way only. But the bank fees, the annual bank fees has been given as 0.5%. This will be deducted from my gain. This, you have to take 60% of 0.5, that will be 0.3 here and 0.2 here. This will be deducted. So here I'm getting 0.9% and here I'm getting 0.6%. Here I'm getting 1.5%. Whether I do horizontally or vertically, I should get 1.5% only. What is it known as? Gain on swap after bank fee, right? Now, that is your gain on swap after bank fee. This much. Now next, for this you are getting 2 marks, by the way. For this whole you are getting 2 marks, and for explaining this you are getting 1 mark, and this whole you are getting 1 mark. That's how you are getting a 4 marks. For that table, I know it's too many you have to write, but you are getting 2 marks for that. Right? So now, how you are going to start this table? If you're going to start it like this, you will get confused. So first you have to see what is the net result, right? To get the net result is nothing but without swap minus your gain. Without swap minus your gain, that is your net result. So when you start this table, the swap arrangement, okay, I will write here swap arrangement. I'm going to work this table. First start here, also start with without swap, right? But these are your workings, by the way. These are not in your main table, right? This is not this. This I'm showing you how to get this net result. How to get this net result, I'm showing you that one only, right? So first start with without swap minus your gain for both B and for both C counterparty. Okay. Without swap, just look at the table above. Without swap, it was B bank plus 0.6%, and here it was 5.8%. But the gain, just don't take the gain after bank phase. You have to take before bank phase always. So not 0.9 but 1.2% here, and here it is 0.8%. Deduct it. Because if I don't show you this, how you got that net result, you will not understand how to do that table. That's why for me, first I have to show you how to get this net result. Very important. Because everything, whatever you do, depends on that net result. You at the end, whatever you do with that table, net result, you have to get that only. So that's why first I'm showing you how to get the net result. This is your working. So just minus B plus 0.6 minus 1.2. You are getting B minus 0.6%, and here 5.8 minus 0.8 is 5%. Just check here. Just check with this table. You are getting the same net result, right? My way of working and their way of working, right? You will get the same answer, but the way is different. My way is much easier to understand. How you got the net? This is known as your net result. Keep this net result with you. Even under exam condition, just keep this ready somewhere. But when you present this table, this net result should come at the end. But you calculate it first and keep it somewhere. But when you write the table, write the net result at the end. First, you have to start this. Bruce company borrow side. You have to start. This is number 1. Right from this table itself, I will show you 1. It borrows at what? This is after swap. I'm going to write S. S with swap. Always start the table like this, because in all the exam you have been given like this only. You have been told to present like this only, right? So it borrows at 4%. This is after swap. It borrows at 4% and it borrows at bank plus 0.4%. Just check here with swap. 4 and B plus 0.4. The same way they are showing here. So this is number 2. First start with the company, then start with the counterparty borrows at what rate. They borrow at the swap. Then write this heading swap. Write this heading swap. Right? Nothing you're writing, just the heading swap. You can even keep one line after you write the borrowing of both the company. Then keep one line and then write swap, or you can write one after the other, doesn't matter. After that, these 4 things come. Right? Even your advantage by leaving 4 lines. See, after you write swap, keep 4 lines, because 4 lines only you need. 2 companies, right? At some rate, Bruce company will pay and he will receive also. Counterparty also will receive and pay. So 4 lines you need. So under swap, keep 4 lines. Then write your advantage and write your net result. Because your net result, you have worked it before here. Keep your net result ready and write it down. The last line has to be your net result. Keep your advantage also ready. This is your advantage, 120 basis point and 80 basis point. Just check here. It is 1.2% and 0.8%. That means 120 basis point or 80 basis point. Right? After before you deduct your bank fees, you have to take the advantage. That's your gain basically. You can write gain or you can write advantage, whatever it is. Right? So it is 1.2%. That means 120 basis point, and here it is 0.8%, 80 basis point. Before you deduct bank, don't go and take this 0.9 and 0.6. Then your everything will turn out wrong. Now you are done. Now only you have this four things remaining. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. This four things you have remaining. What to pay, what to receive. To see what to pay, what to receive, always check your net result. You have to do your calculation. You have to write in such a way that your net result at the end, for Buryecs company, you have to get bank rate minus 0.6%. For counterparty, you have to get 5%. Right? So if you see, then let's start with the Buryecs company. If you see that in the Buryecs company, in the net result, there's a bank rate here. That means you are paying bank rate. You are paying bank rate. So Buryecs company pays bank rate. You see, Buryecs company pays bank rate. You have to pay the bank rate. That means Buryecs company is the one who is paying bank rate, because in the net result there is a bank rate. So if Buryecs company is paying bank rate, means counterparty receives that bank rate. That's why it's in negative. When you pay something, it will be in positive. Why it's in positive? Because this, you are paying this. You are paying this. You are deducting your no, you're not deducting anything, but you are paying this and this, right? So your payment has to be in positive, and when you receive something, it will be negative. Not negative, it will be inside the bracket, because you are deducting your borrowings from your receipts. That's why. And this is payment. This first one, 4% is payment. This bank rate is payment. That's why both are in positive. You might be thinking that payment has to be in bracket and receipt is in without bracket. No, receipt has to be in bracket in this case, and your payment has to be without the bracket, but the amount will be same. If one is paying, the other one will be receiving the same amount only. Therefore, Buryecs company is paying bank rate, because in the net result they have a bank rate. Counterparty receiving that bank rate, therefore it will be in bracket. When you see the net result of counterparty is just 5%, there is no bank rate in the answer. Right? Now, if you see, it is bank rate minus 0.6%. How do we get this minus 0.6% for Buryecs company? You see they are borrowing at 4%. So you have to get minus 0.6%. So if you deduct 4.6 by 4, it's like 4 minus 4.6. 4 minus 4.6. Then only you will get minus 0.6%. So that means Buryecs company is receiving 4.6, counterparty pays 4.6%. That's why counterparty is receiving, that's why it's in bracket, and counterparty is paying that 4.6%, that's why it's without bracket. If you don't want to go this way, if this looks confusing to you, there is another way also of finding this 4.6%. Basically, whenever you have to decide of paying and receiving, first start with variable. Let me zoom this for you. First start with variable. It's easy to start with variable, because fixed is your balancing part. What that is your balancing figure. Fixed component you have to work at the end, right? Which company's net result has fixed? Check that. This is the second way I'm telling you how to get 4.6%, and this is a much easier method also. Who is having a net result in fixed? Counterparty. So if you want to find that fixed percentage, right, that 4.6, you have to start from counterparty. See, counterparty is borrowing at bank rate plus 0.4%, and they are receiving bank rate. So the bank rate cancels off, right? Because this is without bracket, this with bracket, it cancels off. You already have 0.4% in hand, but your net result is 5%. You have to pay 5%, but you are now paying 0.4%. Just find the difference. 5 minus 0.4, that is 4.6%. So counterparty has to pay 4.6% to total up to total it to 5%. If counterparty is paying, means Bruce company is receiving 4.6%, right? You can check after you are done with all this. Now we have completed the swap table. After this, you can check whether you are correct or not. Your swap is correct or not. 100% correct or not, you can check. Do the calculation and see, are you getting the net result? How I will check? Let's see. Let me do here. 4, like plus. This company is borrowing at 4 plus bank rate B minus 4, they are receiving 4.6, so minus 4.6. So B 4 minus 4.6 minus 0.6. Just check. My net result has bank rate minus 0.6%. Brewers companies part is okay. Let's go to the counterparty. Counterparty says bank plus 0.4%. Bank rate is in bracket. So minus B 4.6 plus 4.6. Payment has to be added. Receipt has to be deducted. Remember that. So bank gets cancelled. 0.4 plus 4.6, 5%. Net result is 5% from counterparty. That means your swap is absolutely correct. You can have confidence in that it's correct. So isn't swap easy now, right? It just needs practice 2 or 3 questions regarding swap by using different numbers, and once you get this perfect. Now this portion you are just explaining, in words. You need to explain in words. They told you are getting 1 mark for that. So after paying the 30-point basis fee, just check here. Bank fee is 30 basis point for Brewers company. Brewers company will effectively pay interest at the bank rate minus 0.6%. Currently, the net result is bank rate minus 0.6%. Right? But after paying the interest at the bank, or after deducting that bank charge, you have to pay bank rate minus 0.3%. Right? Then, and benefit by 90 basis point or 0.9%. Benefit is 90 basis point. Yes, after deducting. Just see, 0.9%. Next. The counterparty will effectively pay interest at 5.2% and benefit by 60 basis point. You can see the basis benefit by 60 basis point, 0.6% here. How they are saying 5.2%? The counterparty will pay effectively interest at 5.2%. Just check. Their net result is 5%. Currently they are paying 5% and their bank fee is 2%. 0.2%. So you are adding 5 and 0.2 and you have to pay 5.2%. Right? Here also you are doing the same thing. Bank rate minus 0.6% plus 30 basis point plus 0.3. That's why bank rate minus 0.3% for Brewers company. After bank fee you have to pay. And here 5.2%. You are basically adding that bank fee with the net result. Now let's go to the second one, which is about net present value. Before you find net present value, find the exchange rate using the inflation rate of the two countries. The formula is given. Using the purchasing power parity formula to calculate the exchange rates. I'm sorry. It is the purchasing power parity formula, not the Fisher equation, because Fisher equation is you cannot use the Fisher equation. This is the international net present value we are finding. So you cannot use it. Here we have to use the purchasing power parity. I'm sorry for that. So the formula has been given to you. Always write the formula, right? 1 plus HC divided by 1 plus HB. H is inflation and C is your counter country and B is your base country, right? Let's go and check how we are going to do that. You have been given the inflation of the two countries and here's the exchange rate. Now which one will come up, which one will come? For that, see this currency will tell you. So when this is for year zero's exchange rate is this, but for year 1, year 2, year 3 you need to calculate. For year 1 it will be this 0.1430 multiply by the inflation rate of which country, eurozone or Vertonia. You have to take eurozone because this is in euro, this is in euro, right? It will go on the top. If it was in dollar, then you have to take Vertonia's inflation on top and 1.03. Based on this, you will get some answer. That answer you have to use here. Let's say you are getting X, some answer, okay? So X, again you have to use that year's exchange rate to find the next year's exchange rate, right? Let's say this is Y, okay? Y multiply by that exchange rate multiply by again the inflation of Eurozone 1.04, 1.08. Let's say here you are getting Z, some answer, right? Again you are using that Z multiply by inflation rate of Eurozone 1.03 divided by 1.11 and you are getting the exchanges of all the three countries. Let's see, this is how they have worked here. Just see. Exactly that way they have worked here. This and this. Using those inflation, now you will make a table to find the net present value, right? So at year 3, 5,000 million will be exchanged at the original spot rate. They have told 5,000 is the initial you are paying. Initially, you are immediately paying 5,000 million, right? So at year 3, why they are talking about year 3? Because this it's a swap. Don't forget. For initial fee, there's a swap. And at 3, this will be exchanged, right? In swap, you exchange at the end of the term. So at year 3, this will be exchanged at the original spot rate, not in year 3. They have told that also clearly in the requirement, in the case study, that it will be original spot rate. That means today's spot rate. It will be exchanged as per the agreement, and the remaining inflows will be exchanged at year 3 rate. Remaining inflows will be exchanged at year 3 rate. Better whenever this type of agreement comes, that this one, like, which is not normal, that this rate will be exchanged using this original rate. Normally what we do is for year 3 we'll exchange using the year 3's rate. In that case you don't have to write anything, but here it is an exception. They are using the original spot rate. Here you need to make this line, you need to write it, so that when you do your working, the examiner knows that you are using, why you are using the original spot rate, because it is there in the agreement. These are the reasons. You need to tell it whenever there are some exceptional case like this. So initial fee is 5,000 in year 0 and today's spot rate is already given, not what the one which we calculated. It is 0.143 and all these are annual income because they told that they expect 600 for all the 3 years. So 600, 600, 600, and this 7,500 the government will pay in the end of 3, right? And exchange rate now you have to use for 1, 2 and 3. Convert it. How you will convert? Multiply or divide? You have to multiply the exchange rate, right? So 5,000 multiplied by 0.1430 is 715. This 715 you are paying, you will be receiving this 715 in the end of the 3 year. It's a swap, don't forget. and it will be in the today's spot rate. That's why it's 715 only. It didn't change. They have wrote also swap translated as 0.143. Now, amount which are not covered by swap, you are receiving 7,500 from government, you are paying 5,000 initially, that 2,500 needs to be translated at year 3, which is 329 here. And annual income, that is your all this 600 has been translated by using the exchange rate. So now cash flows in the home country, discount factor has been given to you 14% and find the present value. And the net present value has been 185 in euros you have to find. Million euros. Don't forget the currency, please. Currency is very important. This is a currency rate question. Currency is very important. Net present value of the project is 185 million euros. Don't go and write dollar over there. If it's dollar, convert it in euros, indicating that it should go ahead. So if net present value is positive, means indicating that it should go ahead. However, you always need to point other situations why it should not go. Just because net present value is positive does not mean that you should go ahead with the project. There are so many other qualitative factors, non-financial factors which you need to talk about. These are those non-financial factors. However, the value is dependent on the exchange rate. Yes, the net present value is highly dependent on exchange rate, which is worsening for the foreign income. How can you say it's worsening for the foreign income? Just check. Just check your annual income from 88 to 85 to 79. It's reducing because your exchange rate is reduced, falling down. Therefore, the foreign income is worsening, right? You can see that there's a worsening of the foreign income. If there are also uncertainties about the variability of returns during the 3 years, the directors may consider the project to be in excess of their risk appetite and decline the opportunity. As a result of the exchange rates on the initial fee being see, this you need to calculate. This for this you are getting marks. I'm putting star over here because this has been asked and they recommend most of you might not consider this. They told you to find the gain in euro. What gain? Because you are converting the exchange rate on the initial fee being fixed at year 0 spot rate. Okay, as a result of the exchange rates on the initial fee, what was that initial fee? 5,000. That was being fixed at the year 0 spot rate. Brewers company has gained how much? 5,000 multiplied by the spot. You anyway have to multiply the exchange rate, right? So 5,000 multiplied by what? The difference between the exchange rate, because you're finding the gain, right? It has reduced from 0.143 to 0.1315. 0.1430 is today's spot rate, year 0. 0.1315 is year 3 spot rate. Find the difference. How much it changed? That difference multiplied by 5,000 into 0.65. What is this? 0.65 now. 0.675. You need to discount back. You need to discount back to year 0. It is this discount factor year 3. Right? You are talking about which 5,000? This 5,000. See, here it's an initial fee of 5,000, right? This 5,000. This 5,000 again you will be receiving, it will be exchanged. So when you translate back, because you are fixing that 5,000 at today's spot rate and you see the spot rate is falling, but it will not affect that 5,000 because your spot rate has been fixed in today's spot rate. If you see the spot rate has worsened down, right? It reduced. It would have reduced your receipt. But thank that you have that you have fixed at year 0 spot rate, therefore you are gaining, right? That's why you are multiplying this by 0.675 in year 3, discounting it back to year 0 to find the gain. And this is the gain. Now we are using the option. and we have to compare it with the swap. So receipt using swap arrangement. What is this 715 million? You are already, you are not swapping all the amount in this table, right? You are not swapping this annual income. You are only swapping your initial fee. This 715 because you are receiving it, right? It's a receipt. You have to say whether it's a payment or a receipt. This is a receipt using swap arrangements. 715 plus 329. From where did you get this 320? This one. The amount which was not covered by the swap. You have to take this also. You also have to add that if you are using swap. So this will be the total. If you are not taking swap, you leave it unhedged. What was the receipt? They have clearly told you the receipt was 7,500 million in their requirement. You multiply by the third year's spot rate. So you are getting this much, which is very less if you would have used swap. Now we have to use option, right? Now this line, right? Predicted exchange rate at year 3 0.1315 or 0.7646. How they got this? This is given, okay, you have calculated it. How they got this? This is nothing but just the reciprocal of this. 1 divided by 0.1315, you will get 7.6446. So when you want to find it's just a reciprocal of one currency, right? This is euro is to $1. If you want to find 1 euro is equal to how many dollar, right? Then you just need to do the reciprocal of this. That's it. Let's say 2 euro is equal to $1. These are just imaginary numbers. Now if you want to find how many dollar will make 1 euro, right? Or let's say $1, right? Now you want to find in euro. How many dollar will be equal to 1 euro? You want to find this in dollar. How will you find? It's just 1 divided by 2, right? Reciprocal of one another. That's it. Now options. Go to options. We have to decide call or put. I'm lost. Where is the question? Okay, so here's the question. Call or put, right? Here it's a dollar option, right? The option is in dollar, they have clearly told. So you are receiving dollar. Dollar is a foreign currency, you are receiving dollar. You are receiving dollar means you have to buy a put option. Now you can go for dollar option because it's dollar, so you don't have to care about it. So you're going for put option. Whenever it's a receipt, foreign receipt, put option. Foreign payment, call option. We know that. And this percentage we have to use to find the premium. Remember how we have to find the premium, right? So here, buy dollar put options has receiving dollar. State this line. At 7.75 exercise price, what you're doing, at 7.2 exercise price, what you're doing. Here they are saying do not exercise, right? Why do not exercise? First, do your calculation, then state do not exercise. Don't write do not exercise first, because how will you know whether you will exercise it or not, right? This is a kind of not practical to do it, right? But it's okay, you are learning. But in the exam, first you have to do calculation, then only you will understand whether you will exercise or not. Then you write do exercise or do not exercise. Here net receipt is how much? 986. Just check without hedging, it is 986 minus this is your premium. Premium you have to deduct if you go by option. So your premium for put at this exercise price was 1.6% into 7,500. This is the amount which you are going to hedge. Multiply by today's spot rate, because they have told that that will be your premium. So just check your net result. Your net receipt is much lower than using your swap. Receipt using your swap. So, and also even if you compare with the amount unhedged, it's much lower. So it will not be exercised. Now let's go to the second exercise price. They are saying exercise. We'll see. Most of the time when you give two exercise prices, when you have to find the outcome using two exercise prices, most of the time I have seen that it is one you exercise, the other one you don't exercise. Most of the time it's like that. There could be chances that you could exercise the option using both the prices also, right? But I have never seen a question where they give a option and you don't have to exercise the option at all. That I have never seen till now, and they will not ask also such questions, stupid questions, because otherwise what's the point of giving you options if you don't have to exercise that option? So at least one option you have to exercise. If there are two, more than two options, you don't have to calculate. They will never give you. It's either two or one, right? They will never give you 3 4 options to calculate, so don't worry, you can be sure about it. Now here they are saying exercise. How receipt from government is 7,500, that we know, divided by the exercise price, and just see the receipt you are getting 1034. This is more than the amount unhedged, but still it is less than the swap, and net receipt will be deduct that 1034 by the premium 2.7% into 7,500 into again today's spot rate, so you are getting 1,005. It is still less than the using swap, but still more than the amount unhedged, so it is better to hedge using the second option, second exercise price. Here they have written these lines. You need to write this. You need to always describe in sentences what you have done in the calculation, what you have observed. Otherwise you will not get your full marks. And writing is not very tough, trust me. If you're confident about your calculations, you know exactly how to do our calculations, writing won't be a big task for you, because you are basically writing the numbers in words. You know what you have calculated, so you're just writing numbers. So the 7.25 option gives a better result than not hedging given the current expectations of the exchange rate. However, it gives a worse result than the swap even before the premium is deducted, because of the exchange rate being fixed on the swap back of the original amount paid. These calculations do not take into account possible variability of the finance costs associated with the swap. So they are saying okay, swap is good, but in this they haven't taken the possible variability of the finance costs. There are some finance cost of swap also which they haven't taken in this calculation, caused by swapping into floating rate borrowing, right? So that's it. This is how you have to end it, right? So that's it. We have discussed lot of topics in this, from over the counter options to using two options, compare swap and options, how to find the gain and net present value, how to find the exchange rate, how to find the net present value, and then the drawbacks, positive benefits, and how the swap works, and all these things we have done. We have done lot of things, right? In this one question, it's a good question. I like this kind of questions where you are challenged to think, and you have a lot of things in one. It's good also, you can learn so many things in one question, which saves your time also, rather than doing many different questions, right? And it's just for 25 marks, that means 36 minutes, right? So make sure you practice this question again and again until you become perfect, until you are able to do swap, until you are able to find the exchange rates, until you are able to calculate the net present value on your own confidently. and you can compare options with swap. So that's it for today. Hope you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and thank you for all the love, all those messages which I get, the emails which I receive from all over the world. People write to me all my right every morning. I read my emails. As soon as I get read a message, I always reply back. I always reply to all the students, right? It is my dream to help people all over the world as much as I can. As much as I can, I just want to spread the knowledge which I have. And I just want most of, in fact, every one of you who are watching my video to get the most out of it and do pass with very good results. Not just pass, but pass with high marks. Maybe ranking or topping in your country or your region or worldwide, international, you never know. And thanks for those sweet messages, really. I mean, I don't know what to say, but some of you really send me those sweet messages showing concern, showing your love, and saying that you love my videos, you love my teaching, you love the way I teach. It really means a lot to me to receive this. Trust me, it really means a lot that people are actually getting the benefit of my videos, right? So soon I'll be coming live, right? Let's see. 31st, maybe on 31st or 1st, New Year is coming, so we'll try to come live. Okay, then take care. Bye bye. And don't forget to watch my other videos too, and like them, and do promote them among your friends, and make me come closer to my dream. Thank you. Take care.